Right, folks, day 19 of our Tenerife Jones. It's nearly over, folks, it's nearly over. We're going home soon. Anyway, I've got something to report today. I really have. We've seen something really special last night. Really, really special. Before I get to that, let me just tell you what happened yesterday. Yesterday, I had an easier one in around the apartment. Did a bit of recording, bit of housekeeping, a very little bit of sunbathing because I don't like it. Early indoors and the lad went down to the beach. I'm not all up for the beach at all. They were gone a good few hours, give me a chance to get some things done. Everyone was a winner. Went out for tea at Mario's, one of our favourite restaurants. Couple of steaks for me and the lad, couple of fillet steaks and pasta for indoors. Everybody loved it, absolutely grand. And then we toddled off to the Night Owl. Only the second time we've ever been there. A cracker jack of a bar on the way to Las Americas. It really, really is. It may come under Las Americas, I don't know. You can see Veronica's from its front door, so maybe it does, maybe it doesn't, I'm not sure. We went to see the chap that we seen for the first time last week. I reported on him last week to you, said we absolutely loved him. Seen him last night and he was absolutely brilliant, absolutely fantastic. Anyway, it's old Clarence Stanley. I did a piece last week about the 5 or 6 best acts on the island and said if I'm lucky, I might see somebody else in the 3 weeks we're here to join the 5 or 6, but I didn't expect so. And then the very next night we seen Clarence Stanley for the first time and he wowed us. Last night, even better. Absolutely unbelievable. But the added bonus was I had the lad with me. He's a bit of a singer himself, the lad. He's not got a bad voice at all. And he was blown away by him, so I was dead chuffed. Clarence did a different set than the first week. It was an even better set in my money. Spoiled ever so slightly by singing a Neil Diamond song. I'm not going to tell you which one it is, but it does my head in. But everybody's singing it, so why shouldn't Clarence, I suppose? Anyway, just a joking aside, a brilliant set. I couldn't speak any higher of the person. He came on, and from start to finish, he was electric. It was an hour and 20 minutes of top class entertainment. The fellow comes on, he does a number of songs, all different genres, different times, just absolutely brilliant. And he starts with a song that I don't know. And I'm saying to him, lad, he started with a song last week. I've heard it before, I think I've heard it, I've not got a clue who it's by, I've not got a clue what it's called, it's a bit modern for me. I said, but it's sensational. I said, and I'll tell you something to the lad, I said, this number he starts with, the performance for that 3 minutes that he does the number, is as good a performance as I've ever seen anybody do in an opening number. Now, I actually said something about a year ago to a chap on the island who's got his own YouTube channel. He also has one with his wife. And I mentioned about professional singers and sort of semi-professional. And his wife, Shelley, who I think is absolutely brilliant, I mentioned professional singers. He said, whoa, wait a minute, Shelley's professional. And I thought, well, technically he's right, he is right. She does it for a living, she does it all the time. I didn't mean to be discourteous. What I meant was, when I think of professional singers, I think of those that you go in a club to see, or a concert hall, and you're paying 20, 30, 40, 50 quid. I class that's professional, but I do know anybody that does 4, 5, 6 nights a week and charges is a professional singer. That is their profession. I know that, so I got it wrong. But what I will say is this, so as not to cause any offence. What I meant was, with this Clarence, with his first number, it's not only as good as any singer I've ever seen in a bar or a club perform, it's as good as any singer anywhere I've ever seen perform. I've seen some of the greatest rock acts of all time, and there's very, very, very few, if any, that I can think of that start with a song that hits you between the eyes, like this guy with his first song. So anyway, he did the same first song, and I said to the lad in the song, what did you think of that? The lad said, out of this world. He said, he's the best I've seen up to now, by a country mile. Now, I did say only last week that my favourite singer on the island always was Shelley. I think she's the best woman by a mile, but I don't think there's a male or female as good as her. Then I see Michael Levy Jr., and he had them both on the same pedestal. Clarence is without doubt there with them. He may be above them, more of that in a moment. But he was absolutely brilliant. And I mean brilliant. We've seen a chap in our first week called Byron Noble, that some of you know. I didn't know him. I believe he was the top male vocalist on the island last year. We've never seen him before. We only seen about a third of his act, and it's hard to pass judgment on a third of an act. But what I will say, from that third of an act we've seen, and the 2 acts we've seen Clarence do, I think Clarence is streets ahead of him. I really do. I think it's chalk and cheese. I think he's that good. Anyway, starts with this song last night, and it's brilliant. Now, the Night Owl, for those that don't know, it's a top-notch club. It's a downstairs club. I've only been twice. I only noticed last night, I said to her indoors, I said, this sound system is the best I've come across on the island by a country mile. Then I noticed it's all Bose. I mean, you can't beat Bose speakers. And I even noticed, you know, like the old soundbar that you have underneath your TV? They've got them Bose speakers that are only like that wide, and they're probably about 5 or 6 foot tall. They've got them. They've got the big cabinet speakers. Then I noticed they've got some in the ceiling. Now, I don't know if they were speakers or if they were monitors or if they were speakers, but they were having the same effect as a monitor because they were facing back to the stage, and everything's Bose. So the system's brilliant. The guy that runs it is a top-notcher. He's a Northern Souler from, I think, where's he from? I think he's from Lincoln. He's really into his music. He does all the DJing and runs the night. He's a top-notch bloke as well. Absolutely brilliant bloke. Gave him one request. It was the first one up after the first singer did his spot, and you can't ask for more than that. Absolutely brilliant. And this is coming from me, who's a rocker. I'm not into soul and Northern Soul per se, as a rule, but I admire it. I admire the dancers and I admire the genre. And there are a few songs out of them that I absolutely love. But blown away by the club, but more so by old Clarence. Clarence is just absolutely sensational. Anyway, the first song, he did this song, and as I said to the lad, oh, that's brilliant, is that? Absolutely fantastic. At the end of it, because the lad couldn't remember what it was, I said to Clarence as he was walking off, I hate to go and speak to anyone this song. I said, can I just ask, what was your first song? He said, All Night Long. I said, it wasn't. He said, it was. I said, I don't think it was. He said, it was. And I thought, I can't be arguing with the singer. He knows what he sung. I said, all right. Who was it by then? Because I thought, it's not all Lionel Richie. He said, Lionel Richie. I said, it definitely wasn't. I said, that wasn't All Night Long. Oh, you're right, he said. I did the gig before here. I did All Night Long, got that one. He said, what was it called? I'll have to read it, folks, because I can't even remember. The bins will have to go on for this, because I told you I don't know what it's called. What was it called? Fireball. I said, who's it by? I was expecting him to say XL5, but he never. He said, Pitbull. I thought, well, he's talking about the dog breeds there, but who's it by? He said, Pitbull. I said, all right then. I haven't a Pitbull, to be honest with you. I'm not got a clue who it is, but I've heard of him. Told lad it later. I said, I know what that one is. Anyway, he does that, folks. All the moves covered, not just the vocals, the moves, I'm telling you now. Absolute consummate showman. I mentioned him to you last week. He must be about 5'10", 6 foot tall. He's black suited, white shirt on, black tie, nice little crisp knot there. Good looking fella. The thing is with this fella, this guy's got it all. The other two I've mentioned, brilliant singers. There's some other great singers on the island, but this guy's the full package, and the reason for it is, number one, he's got a great voice. You need that. He's a great looking guy. He's not only a great looking guy facially, he's got a great body. Not that I've seen his body, I had all his clothes on, I'm not that way inclined, I don't want to say anything else, but slim, blah, 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 tall, you can't beat that. He can move, folks, he can cut a rug, there's no doubt about that. On the first one by Pitbull, say I know who it is, he's moving and shaking it like you can't tell you. He's absolutely brilliant. And then, have I mentioned his voice? Crackerjack of a voice, crackerjack. I said to the owner, just after he'd been on, I think it was, I said, you've got a genius there, this guy is superb. He said, he's brilliant in it. I said, he is absolutely top notch. I said, honestly, this guy could perform anywhere in the world. He's that good. He said, he's really really polished. I thought, well, he's that polished. He made me think of Pledge, he's that good. And Clarence wouldn't know what Pledge is, but me and you would know, won't we? But honestly, just brilliant. He absolutely is the full package. So it was just an absolutely great night. We did some at the end of it, but that's irrelevant. It doesn't really matter. It was a late one in again. We had to leave about 20 past 11, went somewhere else to go. It doesn't really matter where we went, what we did, because the night ended when we left that place and old Clarence had sung. It was just brilliant. Again, we were in late, about 10 to 2, I think it was that time. So another late one. This was my holiday where we've extended it an extra week, and it was going to be maybe a couple of nights out, a night in, just so we could pace ourselves and not blow ourselves out. We've done what? This is in day 19 now. We've had one night in. Unbelievable. We've only got 2 nights to go tonight, tomorrow. We're not going to do a night in now. Anyway, the lad's off in an hour. He goes. He's going home. He'll get the eating put on for when we get home. We'll hope it's not flooded, because everywhere else is, I believe. And we'll see him on probably Friday morning. We get home very, very, very late on Thursday night. So anyway, thanks for watching. If you've watched the old journal, and if any of you come down to Tenerife again, honestly, folks, go to watch Clarence Stanley. I think there's an ABC app. It's a Tenerife app. Shows you all the pubs, the clubs, and the acts. Look for Clarence Stanley. Look where he's played. Do not miss him. That's if he's still here in a year's time. Absolutely sensational. Honestly, you cannot, and I promise you, when I say it, you cannot fault the boy.